pharmaceutical manufacturers. And today he will give us a second chance for the people who were not able to be there in our live event um, to follow up on his presentation. And without any further words, I would just like to give over to you, Norbert, and would say the stage is yours.
Okay, well, thanks for the intro and hello everyone. Although I can only see my slide, still it's very nice to be here. My name is Norbert Schimann. I'm a PTC slash Codebeamer solution consultant, and yeah, I thought it would be a great idea to do this collaboration with Peter and Peter's team to delve a bit into the challenges for that medtech and pharmaceutical companies face, and how those could be potentially resolved with Codebeamer. So without any further ado, let me start off. A quick agenda. I try to not overcomplicate anything. So we will be dealing with challenges in medtech and pharma, and of course, how to address those challenges, right? So we will start off with the MedTech segment. And first of all, I wanted to talk about the trends that are shaping uh, research and development within MedTech. And there are four major areas I wanted to highlight, and tackling those one by one. First of all, it would be increasing the investment in R&D. The innovation and growth is definitely um, a key feature or focus point. There's a heavy invest in R&D to drive this. In just 2022 alone, more than $42 billion was invested in research and development. So that's quite a hefty sum. The adoption of agile development practices, as there's more and more need of speed and effectiveness in order to further enhance and add to the existing portfolios. Some agile approach definitely has to be taken. The shift towards software as a medical device. The software as a medical device market is again projected to reach almost $100 billion in 2027. So again, this is quite a pressing issue or pressing matter to pay attention to. And along with this, software as a medical device, this introduces and presents new challenges to the regulation of the medical devices themselves. And of course, cybersecurity is something that has been, added to this list. Um, as we develop more and more complex products and interconnected and smart products, the the reality is that the vulnerability that these different new developments could introduce, now there has to be some way to hopefully mitigate and completely erase those, um, and this definitely has to be taken under consideration. So again, the challenges, technological advancements, certainly as the increasingly complex connected systems we have seen and are seeing today. They are the companies who manufacture those are still relying on old technology and old approaches to manage requirements, assess the risks, and do the testing. I'm talking mainly about Word and Excel for these extremely manual processes where there's definitely room for improvement. Consumer patient behaviors as the as we go forward in time, as we get the new generation of end users, the companies have to constantly reinvent themselves across multiple dimensions in order to create and present the value that these new generations are looking for. And finally, the regulatory and policy angle. I'm kind of 100% sure that you saw this coming. As we are seeing all of these new improvements, as the landscape shapes, new regulations are being constantly added and updated and improved in order to meet those standards. The companies also have to evolve and make sure that they are really on top of these regulations, because if not, well, then those, the ramifications could be quite serious. Just an extremely busy slide. I'm not going to delve on this too much. I really just wanted to illustrate how complex really this regulatory landscape can look like, and not everything is included on this image. But I just wanted to add smart connected products, for example, the FDA regulations for quality systems, e-records and signatures, the unique device identification, and all of this goes into the medical device development itself, right? We have the process standards, we have the product standards, and the material compliance as well. Quality management systems, ISO 14971 for risk management, so on and so forth. So this is just to to give you a high level illustration of how complex it could be to develop a medical device. Now, looking at the impact and its significance for patients and the medtech companies themselves, if you're talking about product failures that could happen due to substandard requirements management, well, that would definitely exceed costs and the costs and lose time to market. Not very good things to have, right? Recalls due to unmet requirements. Now, recalls is definitely the one of the boogeymans here, and we are talking about upwards of $600 million that just a single product recall can reach. It's something that I believe all companies would prefer to avoid. Um, yeah, cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Not only it can cause harm to the company itself, but most importantly for us, the end users, the patients as well. So not even death, but even harm, or even just the violation of privacy, leaking sensitive data is extremely serious, and it should be avoided by any costs. And finally, the regulatory harmonization. It definitely adds a level of complexity for companies to introduce, to place the products on global markets. Again, this is something that I believe, I'm not saying anything new here, is that in order to get the CE approval, to get the FDA approval, you have to, be extra sure that you are compliant with all of their regulations. So how could we tackle these challenges? How could we solve these? And this is first of all, we have the waterfall methodology and the agile methodology. And those two um, methods are quite different compared to one another, because waterfall methodology is mainly still being used for hardware development, um, or most mechanical products, really, because it's not an option to move and fail fast, but rather you want to measure twice and cut once. You want to make extra sure that the goal that you set out to do in the first place is met 100%, and that takes time and effort, and you have to take extra care, even if it takes years. In the end, you're definitely going to arrive to the specific product you set out to do X many years ago. But this is mostly seen for mechanical and hardware products. On the other hand, we have the agile methodology, which is most commonly used in software development, and it's kind of the opposite of what waterfall stands for, because on the agile methodology is all about constant iteration, reiteration, and trying and testing, seeing what works, trimming the fat, moving along, um, just constantly evolving in a very quick fashion in order to keep up the pace to meet the ever evolving customer demands. And if there was a way to somehow bring those two things together, then the challenges that these methods could address would be tracing the requirements properly, that would influence both the software and the mechanical design. The understanding the change impact as changes are made in one domain or the other, how one could influence the other. And finally, the tracking of the product versions would be in order to keep up with the rapid iteration of software components. And again, to really highlight the benefits would be the acceleration of innovation, streamlining the collaboration, and differentiating the products themselves. So a proposed way to tackle this is what PTC has in store as an idea. For example, to have the foundational capabilities stored in Windchill. I'm talking about the document control, design control, supplier and change management. Then inside Codebeamer, the risks and the requirements would be handled um, along with the software and issue management. And again, coming back to Windchill specific module, you would have all of the quality capabilities, non-conformance and customer experience management, CAPA and SCAR management, and training and audit management as well. And finally, ThingWorks would extend those capabilities with Navigate apps, with the partner apps. And this is where the smart connected products and the smart connected operations would come into play. So the, starting out starting out with a system or switching to a different system can definitely be a daunting task. It could be, what do I do? How do I do with it? I'm not necessarily sure I want to spend months or even years to start from the ground up. And to address those concerns, we have come up and created industry-specific templates that would definitely help with these kind of efforts, save you time, save you effort, and allow to, I know this is a buzzword, but hit the ground running, because you would have a collection of best practices, use cases, pre-configured system pretty much that you would have to populate with your own data, lose what you don't need, use what you need, this kind of thing. And to be a bit more specific, I highlighted a couple of things of this. One of them would be the design control element, Codebeamer, and this is not just with the templates, although it's pre-configured in the templates, but Codebeamer offers end-to-end bidirectional traceability. And this many concerns IEC 82304, 62304, and ISO 14971. Codebeamer comes with a Part 11 compliance signature. And we also have a release manager, which was based around agile. But it also can be used as a Scrum, Kanban, or even a waterfall in a waterfall configuration. That's perfectly fine as well. Validation and verification. Again, you you would like to validate and verify your requirements, right? And that's certainly included using the test management or test management module that Codebeamer has. And you also have the possibility to submit bugs and track your change requests. And these change requests can also be made formal. And this formality configuration goes also for test management and requirements as well. But I'm going to touch on that a bit later. We also have product risk management. Of course, I think you saw this coming. If we have ISO 14971 compliance, then of course it's going to have a product risk management module. I think, of course, I've been using the system for quite some time, but I think it's quite simple and streamlined to really identify the hazards, harms, and hazard situations, and really to just to analyze and manage the risks. And this is where the bidirectional traceability also comes into play, because you will always know how specific risks could affect the requirements. Either you got or you decomposed. And from Codebeamer, you can also, or using Codebeamer, you can also create a risk management file, and you can also keep it as a live document of sorts. So you can either do it as a copy, keep it in the system. It's really up to what you prefer. And finally, the regulatory reporting. We have a built-in reporting engine and virtually everything that's inside the system can be reported, exported, visualized, mainly using Word, Excel, PDF. So those would be the big three, but we also support RecIF if that's more your thing, and APIs, of course, as well. So there are multiple ways to get the data from the system. Let me move on to talk a bit about the pharmaceutical industry. And it wasn't without a reason why we grouped these together, and we are aware it's not the same. There are different challenges, but there's some overlap, I would say, between the two. So first of all, let's take a look at the trends that are shaping pharma, at least as far as software development goes, and then we are going to see what we can do with those. So first of all, the stringent regulations and standards, and this is something I don't think that I have to introduce to anyone, but the pressing issue here is that it's still in many cases still paper based. So the digitalization effort is not necessarily there where everyone would like it to be, and this in turn definitely slows down innovation in manufacturing and operational speed. So the adoption of the agile development methods, which we thought the ISP Gen 5 would be, the best choice here, because it supports the use of incremental, iterative, and evolutionary approaches, including agile, of course, for product development, and it's going to grant the flexibility and adaptability that could really help to speed up this process. Now, the shift towards smaller, fit-for-purpose applications, it's something that we've also noticed, and these highly specialized systems carry a higher risk because they often run broader and decentralized networks. And I think this is where the cybersecurity element once again comes into the picture, because of how these systems are developed and configured and used on a daily basis. There's also a rise in cybersecurity attacks that would, aim to exploit the vulnerabilities that that they find really. So the challenges, again, kind of similar to what we saw for MedTech, but the digital transformation, and in order to keep up with the rapid integration of the technologies, for example, the AI. Everyone is talking about AI nowadays. 3D printing, blockchain, and combining and translating all of this potential, it's definitely a cause for alarm in terms of data overwhelm and governance. So those could generate those kind of issues. The complexity in development, because the therapeutics are becoming more complex to develop, the processes are becoming more demanding, and the specifications are broadening in order to emphasize device and software components. It definitely poses a challenge that should be addressed and resolved. Finally, advancing the technologies as, and I think this could be true for not necessarily only for pharma, but on a wider range. But it's true that as technology goes ahead and advances, new and new challenges and competencies are in demand, becoming in demand. So hiring and nurturing a new generation of talent is definitely something to keep in mind to look out for. So let's talk a bit about the negative impact on pharma companies, and starting with the increased safety and privacy risks. So I created a three-pronged approach, or a three-way consideration. The first of all, I want to talk about the patient impact, because cybersecurity attacks can compromise patient safety. For instance, the attacks on pharmaceutical manufacturing sectors, critical infrastructure, can lead to delivery delays, contaminated drugs, and compromised trials. As for the financial impact, breaches can lead to significant financial losses. For instance, the average cost of a breach in pharmaceutical organization is close to, more than $5 million. And as far as the business impact goes, cybersecurity attacks can disrupt business operations, affect the productivity, safety, compliance, revenue, and your brand image. The intellectual property, business continuity, and mission critical data are at risk. So, quite a lot. Slow adoption of innovative technologies in production. Well, there's really just two elements. Well, not just two, but two elements I highlighted. First of all, the increased costs and inefficiencies. The traditional methods can be labor intensive and time consuming, and without the adoption of the new and innovative technologies, pharmaceutical companies may face higher production costs and longer production times. And this would ultimately affect the company's bottom line. And the other thing would be the competitive disadvantage. Um, the industry itself is highly competitive, and companies that are slow to adopt the new technologies would find themselves at a disadvantage compared to those who are leveraging these technologies. And this again can result in lost market share and reduced profitability. And finally, the validation of the computerized systems. Again, I went for the patient and business and financial impact. So let me start off with the patient one. The validation of these systems in pharma ensures the accuracy and consistency of data, which is crucial for patient safety. It ensures that systems used in development and manufacturing are reliable, which is critical for product quality. As far as the financial impact goes, uh, even though the process of validating the computerized systems requires time and resources, um, and that translates to financial cost. However, it can prevent costly issues down the line by ensuring systems operate as intended. So it's pretty much, yeah, it has a high or higher upfront cost, but on the middle end, especially on the long run, it definitely is going to um, thank you or pay for itself, or even more than that. And finally, about the business impact, validation helps to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements, reducing the risk of non-compliance penalties, and it also improves the reliability and efficiency of computerized systems. So just a couple of words, couple of sentences about the purpose and requirements for these computerized systems, and this is taken out from the GAM5 book. First of all, we want to safeguard patient safety, the product quality, and data integrity. Um, we want to achieve fit-for-purpose systems by building upon existing industry good practice, which this has. We definitely want to adopt a risk-based approach to first of all enable innovation, yes, but do so by demonstrating compliance with the regulatory requirements and providing practical guidance and encouraging use of innovative technologies. Um, Certainly, this is all going to come together and play a serious part when we consider this approach as a whole. So, a solution would be, in order to ensure reliable, efficient, and compliant computerized systems. Um, these three highlights. First of all, the system lifecycle approach. And GAN promotes a system lifecycle approach for the development and management of computerized systems. This would involve various phases, including the concept, the project, the operation, and retirement. Each phase produces key deliverables that provide evidence that the system is fit for its intended purpose. And then GAMP encourages the use of innovative technologies and approaches to manage risk to patient safety, product quality, and data integrity. This includes the use of new technologies like, as mentioned before, artificial intelligence, big data, and analytics. And these technologies can help improve efficiency, accuracy, and reliability of computerized systems. And as I highlighted before, the risk-based approach is key because it helps to focus on the patient's safety and the product quality. It involves identifying and analyzing potential risks to patient safety, the product quality, and the data integrity. And the goal really is to mitigate these risks through appropriate controls. And this approach encourages innovation while ensuring compliance with regulatory requirements. Just as with the MedTech example, we also have a Pharma or a GAM5 focused template with Codebeamer. And a few highlights from the template would be the validation process management that's built inside, linking the regulatory requirements to the specs and test cases would guarantee the traceability throughout the validation chain, leveraging adequate management control and change management could definitely be a key part of the validation process management. The quality risk management would be a systematic process to assess, control, communicate, and review the hazards. And it has a built-in support for quality by design, and it's the risk matrix diagrams. It's also definitely true for MedTech. It's just something to help to visualize, how the risks look like and are positioned before and after the mitigation. Quality audit and CAPA management would allow you to establish a trail of interlinked artifacts. You would be able to manage non-conformities and CAPA, and pretty much it would streamline and simplify the compliance audits. And finally, the same thing as I highlighted for MedTech, Part 11 compliant e-signature. I think it saves a lot of time and effort and really streamlines this approval process. So let's take a look at the benefits of leveraging these innovative methods and the modern technologies. So five highlights right here: improved efficiency, cost saving, faster time to market, cheaper, faster, quite simple. Regulatory compliance. As long as you comply with the regulations, well, in an ideal world, you would completely avoid and prevent fines and penalties and damages to the company reputation. Um, in the real world, anything can happen, and usually, it happens. But even if that's the case, you can really mitigate and lower those costs and fines to a more tolerable level, I should say. Quality assurance can lead to fewer product recalls and an increased trust from healthcare providers and ultimately patients. Patient safety, of course, one of the highlights is that as the recipient of those therapeutics, you want to make sure, you want to be sure that what you are getting is safe and effective. And finally, access to innovative treatments. As the companies become more efficient and bring more drugs to markets faster, I I would say that everyone would benefit from that. So let's take a look at how Codebeamer can help you achieve all of this, and how the different segments can be explained. First of all, Codebeamer is a lifecycle management solution, or lifecycle collaboration platform. Um, it's really just a one-stop shop, I would say, for all of the requirements and risks and test management needs. It's available in the cloud, but also on premise. And the agile engineering practices, as mentioned before, are um, supported by these templates, by these interspecific templates, which we have created based on the feedbacks of many customers of ours, and based on our own research. And last but not least, Codebeamer seamlessly integrates with PTC Windchill, a wide range of source code management tools, and DevOps environments, GitHub, to highlight Azure repos, for example, as well. Whatever you need for the contemporary software engineering efforts. This is just a summary screen. These would be the modules that I'm going to go over in the next 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. First of all, the requirements authoring and editing, the agile and real-time collaboration, how traceability works, how to improve the overall product quality, how to innovate and deliver faster, and how to reduce risks and costs. So first of all, the traceability, the bidirectional end-to-end traceability, which I would say one of the key highlights of Codebeamer, at least one of the most important features, because using the end-to-end traceability, you can always be sure that you know how all of your different artifacts are connected to one another, how requirements are decomposed, how is your validation and verification efforts is progressing, how many bugs you have, how many risks you have connected to again the requirements, and how those could potentially affect even the highest level user requirements. All of this is available with the traceability. You can do gap analysis, you can do um, impact analysis, and there are multiple ways to access this information. And I would say it's rather intuitive once you get some experience. Um, it's definitely going to be a big part of Codebeamer. The agile engineering section I mentioned before, yeah, we support, and it was built around agile, Scrum, and Safe. But many of our customers still use the V model to develop their own products, as well as waterfall in some cases. So that's also available. We have a Kanban board, which is also quite popular. Makes if you are working in Kanban, it's right there. There are lots of different features and tweaks you can take advantage of in the system that really streamlines this whole process. And the backlog and release management is something that I think you couldn't live without if you're using Agile. It's definitely in there. You can have sprints within sprints within sprints. You can time those sprints, and all of the releases and those sprints themselves have their own statuses too. So whether you are, you can see if that started already, or if you have not started, if you have gone, over the allocated amount of story points or effort. It's just a very nice way to always keep track of how you are doing, pretty much, and how your teams are doing. And the Scaled Agile framework takes it, on another level. You can have the portfolio, the team level breakdown of how everyone is doing. Test management, creating test plans and authoring the specific test cases or the tests themselves is right there in the system. You are seeing a manual test execution screen right now. I think it's very, the its greatness lies in its simplicity, because you can see clearly what you are supposed to do, what the description is, what the test steps are. You can upload a picture, you can upload a video of the actual result that you are getting as a tester. So whoever is either handling it as a bug because not everything went as it should, or you are just documenting your findings, it's going to be clear as day what you have found and what you have experienced exactly. And by the way, the tests themselves can also be made formal. So, if you want to add another layer of approvals, you can certainly do that and go with the formal path. Using parameters and reusing test cases, or the existing test cases, is a big part of Codebeamer. You can really come up with your own parameters. We call them parameters. It's really a dynamic value that you can set for the test cases, and you don't have to keep you know, uh, creating the same thing over and over again. You set up those parameters, you set up the dynamic placeholders, and it's a much more convenient way to create like a 50 or 100 step long test case, because if there's just only a couple of incremental changes to the system, it's much more easier and convenient to do it this way. Automated testing is something we completely support. It's not necessarily in the system, but we can connect either out of the box. For example, with Jenkins, we have a very good integration with, or using our many different API REST API endpoints. You can certainly build your own connection or go through a third party. It's something that happens very regularly. And the predictability via QA reports, it really refers to the fact that the tests or or the validation verification efforts can be followed with the coverage browser, and a coverage browser is going to inform you, and just by taking a look, it's going to let you know how you are progressing, how many of your requirements still don't have, for example, a test case. What kind of efforts do you still have to put in to meet your deadlines and the customer demands. Risk management is, I would say, one of the most important things, at least for MedTech and Pharma. You can establish, create, and maintain a risk database. And right here, you can see an example of that. And this would be an FMEA, a DFMEA to be more specific. Um, you can collect all of your potential effects and failures, how they are connected to specific risks or multiple, requirements. What are the malfunctions? What are the failures? And what kind of mitigating actions are you taking to control those risks? But using the calculated or the computed fields that Codebeamer supports and has, you can also make this a more streamlined effort, a more convenient and faster effort, because as long as you have your hazards and harms and hazardous situations connected, you have your values connected to those. For example, the RPN number can be automatically calculated from the and also the initial probability of severity is going to give the initial risk level, and after the mitigation, you can place that into a risk matrix. So there are multiple ways to really visualize and understand data and understand what you need to do to mitigate and control those risks. Workflows and states. Workflows, I would say, again, are pretty much a backbone of Codebeamer, because with workflows you can do wonders if you configure them correctly. So workflows would refer to the specific states, the life cycle of the items have to go through, and this is just and I hope it's visible enough on the screen. um, these would be, when an item gets created, it gets a new status. If you start working on it, it gets an in progress status. Maybe you have to, usually you have to approve that specific requirement. Then it would wait for an approval, and if it gets approved or rejected, it would also get it, the appropriate status. And this is how the life cycle is represented. And this is completely configurable. You can use whatever names, colors, transitions, actions, conditions you want to. It's supported by the system. So when I say automated actions and conditions, I'm really talking about enforcing the processes themselves. And this is just another way to really streamline the process and limit human error as much as possible. Because if there has to be an approval, you can make it 100% sure that only the right person is going to approve it, and no one else can advance it, no one else can fiddle with it. Only the person who is supposed to review it and approve it or reject it can do. And this approval process is also 100% visible and saved for all eternity. It's going to be in the system. It's going to create new versions of the item or of the items. Everything's visible with name, role, date, who did what. Everything is in the system, and this is really to help the audit efforts. Many of our customers usually, just create a specific user for the auditor to log into the system, get access to what they need, what they have to look at. They can go while they will find everything in order, um, and I think it's just a fantastic thing to have, not worrying, not shaking in your boots when it comes to auditing efforts, but because you already have everything in order in the system, you don't even have to necessarily export anything. You can just here's a system, take a look at whatever you need. Reporting. Even though, as I said before, everything is a system, if you need to create reports and export them, you can certainly do that. We have the ways and methods. For example, we have a dedicated report builder, and using that, pretty much whatever is in the system, anything that's in the system can be made into a report. There are hundreds, thousands of different filters and group by options to really make sure that you are only going to see and export what you need exactly. So the aftercare part, the beautification part that comes with the Word, Excel, can be minimized or even completely eliminated, because Codebeamer also has dedicated, Word and Excel exports that are customizable. In other words, you can really create your own, and whatever you need to pull out from the system is going to look like how you want it to look like, exactly with your company logo, header, footer, uh, everything, and the data is going to be right there in the format that you prefer. Oh, and these reports can be also automatically pulled from the system from in various intervals, be it every 2 week, every 1 week, every day, or even every 4 hours. If it's a critical issue, you can certainly set that up. And that would conclude my presentation. Thank you very much if you stayed here from the beginning till the end. I really appreciate that. Let me click here and here. Okay.
All right. Then thank you, Norbert. That was a nice presentation. And also, again, thank you for having here. I mean, you have really highlighted out the good points why Codebeamer can really help in those industries in being faster, saving money, following the regulation compliance, making the quality assurance, and caring about the patient safety, and also being innovative on the other hand. So that is actually what companies in that field need to be today. And with that, I would just have a look at the chat and see if there are some questions, because I think we have still some minutes for questions, if that's okay. Let's
Sure.
see. But actually, it seems that until now, we do not have any questions. It means that you have presented it so good that there are no questions left.
That must be the case, yeah.
Then, like always, I want to thank you, Norbert, and I want to say thank all of our audience at LinkedIn. And if you have some questions in after the presentation ended, then always feel happy to reach out to us so that we can answer those questions later on. And also, if you just get part of the presentation, it will also be uploaded later on to YouTube, so that you can also have a look at that on later on. And yeah, feel free to reach out, free to reach out to PTC. And with those words, I would like to wish you a nice rest of the day. And yeah, see you soon. Then
Yeah.
take care.
Yeah.
Bye
Thanks
bye.
for having me. Have a great one. Bye.